kind of view things on your own. And it says this is being live streamed, so it's being live streamed. And I'm just waiting for it to show up. Hey, look at that. Here I am. I just want to put it on my digital media sync group as well, because I got a good amount of people there. Okay, so just so you all know, this is being recorded. So, and it's also on Facebook Live, which means it's going to be automatically archived via Facebook. And this is the first in a 3-part series. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, what am I going to do first? Am I going to talk about the library first? I'm the entrepreneur in residence at the library. So I'm actually physically here at the New Haven Free Public Library. I have office hours, which you can see if you go to the website, New Haven NHFPL.org, and you just look at the EIR, CIR tab. Celeste is going to put that in for me. She's doing production right now, and I'm going to try not to talk very, very fast. So I have office hours, and then I have these seminars that I'm doing. I decided to do the holiday series. It's a series of 3, and if we feel like we need to do more, I can tack some more on. Just because it's the season, and this is really when a lot of organizations, individuals, makers, crafters, artists, whomever, really kind of like catch up on that, like last quarter sales type of situation. So I just kind of wanted to go through what some of these instances look like. To give a little background about myself, just in case you don't know, I am Julia Gambale. My company is She's So Social. I've been doing online communications for the past 12 years as my own business. I am also co-owner and founder of Agents of Branding. I work out of the known co-working space, and I run Digital Media Sync. So Digital Media Sync, I would run on Tuesdays from 8:30 until 9:30. I've done 60 episodes. Those reside on nhvknown.com. And 7 of those episodes I actually did with Celeste and the Ives Squared in the New Haven Free Public Library, where we talked about the digital toolbox. So you can find all of those resources. So I will get started. So some of this was the 2020 holiday calendar. This is from bigcommerce.com. I use bigcommerce.com as a resource for many of their articles and their PDF documents, because they really provide a lot of good information in the retail space and the e-commerce space. If you look at this calendar, you can see that it really starts in August. But I want to kind of go over a couple of these things that they're talking about, because this is not just something to do in August, right? Customer and user experience. This is something that you want to be sure of all the time. So what I like to do with customers, and many of my colleagues that work in the space like to do, is we like to do something that we call we're embodying the customer. So if you have a retail space, or you have an online space, or a hybrid, we really go through the process of what is it like to be a customer looking for something, making the purchase, looking at what shipping looks like, and that sort of thing. So some of this is a little bit like for bigger retail spaces, but there's definitely episodes where this works. So easy product setup functionality. Basically what that means is it easy for you to take your products or whatever it is that you make and load it up into your site? So whether you have a WordPress site, If you have a Wix site, if you have a Squarespace site, oftentimes people will also bring their products onto Facebook and set up Facebook shopping or Google shopping or Instagram shop. And the next episode of this, I'm actually going to talk about Facebook and Instagram, both from the perspective of setting up a shop in that space and advertising for that. Okay. Automated abandoned cart notifications. This is something that, again, I'm going to talk about later, is making sure on your site and also utilizing your email database when somebody, and I do this all the time, I'm sure we all do, we'll get caught up, we'll start shopping something, we'll start going through the process, we get distracted, we take a breath, we look at our budget, and then there we go, we have an abandoned cart. So what happens, to kind of prompt that person gently to say, hey, you left something in your cart, you might want to buy it. I'm going to skip the next few things for now because we'll talk about it later. But other areas to think about is shipping and fulfillment options. I know I was speaking with one business owner who was thinking about really building up their business. And one of the first questions that I asked them was, how do you have a fulfillment space? And how are you going to ship things out? Right? So people think about the price of product, the cost of if they're making things, those costs are taken into consideration, but then the shipping and fulfillment options are not necessarily taken into consideration. Any third-party integrations. I wanted to talk a little bit about that because oftentimes people will plug in things just based on the need that they have in the immediate time. And that ends up maybe not working with other integrations. So just making sure that that process is very, very smooth. Oftentimes what I'll do is if I'm doing a process for somebody, for one of my clients, I'll actually write down however that looks in a Google Doc or in a form or checklist or whatever that is, and just go through the process of like, okay, the products reside here on my website. I have an integration, like a payment integration, like Square. And then I'll have like a shipping and fulfillment integration, and then I'll have a database integration. And the question is always, do these things all fit together very nicely? I actually have an episode of Digital Media Sync where I talk with a guest about something called Zapier. So it's Zapier, and that is an integration platform that makes integrations easier. All right, and then there's also marketplace integrations, tech support, analytics. The big thing is always making sure that you have analytics available, because again, one of the things that an analytics does, and it's something as simple as Google Analytics, just to see as people are going through your website. So if you have a website with pages other than your product pages, how are people viewing your site? Where are they getting stopped or stuck or that sort of thing? Maybe it's something to take a look at and kind of look at the avenues that people take in order to see your products. And this is another area that I'll be talking about later in this period of time, meaning the 10-month period of time that I'll be entrepreneur and resident. Okay, so this is actually telling you, BigCommerce is telling you to utilize something called Page Builder, and you can use anything. I actually use something called Beaver Builder. It's Beaver, like the animal. I always feel like because I'm masked that people don't know what I'm saying all the time, so I'll spell things out. I'm very visual and I read people's faces. So Beaver Builder is something that I use in WordPress, but there's other, again, there's other platforms that we use as well. I'm going to skip over partnering with an agency a lot of times. Obviously, you can partner with me. Okay, so very first thing, prepare your merchandising strategy. So what does that mean? Do you have specific products that you're actually going to sell during the holidays that are different from the products that you usually sell? If that's going to be the case, the introduction to those products, the stories of those products, should be something that you should be doing. Again, we were looking at August 2 months ago. If you're just catching up now, do it now. So no matter what it is that you create, if there's something that you create that's very specific to whatever holiday, you want to start giving it its own brand, its own story, really making an introduction like it's a new member of the family. How are you going to display these products on your site, right? Or is there going to be a separate section that's very simply holiday items, gifts, and then how are you going to do that? So what does that look like? One of my clients, what we do is we price out the gifts, right? So holiday gifts for men, for women, for children, for this specific holiday, however that looks. So how you want to specify those gifts, and then by pricing, it's under $25 or $10 or less, or $50, or you can do it by type. So if it's cards, if it's jewelry, if it's phone cases, things like that. What does that look like? And then will you have holiday specific category in your navigation? You're going to hear me use the word process a lot because I'm very process driven. There's a lot of people that are very creative driven, and there's a lot of people that are driven, data driven, and I'm process driven. So when you look at the navigation, is it going to look different than your usual navigation? So meaning, if you are on social media and you are talking for holiday items, are you just going to send the link specific to those items as opposed to your home page or to a larger product page? Also, just a reminder, if you have any questions or if you want me to talk about something more specifically or give links to something, just go ahead and put it in the chat. Or if you're on Facebook, the comment section, and Leslie's going to help me answer those questions. Yay! Okay, so I'm going to scroll through this because this is not my area of specialty, except to say that, again, this was something that one would be doing in September. I was just gearing up in September. So if I were talking to clients and they were doing anything in the retail space or in the e-commerce space, I would be saying, hey, how's everything going with your shipping? So clear plan of fulfilling orders, because if you feel like there's going to be a surge in orders, are you prepared with that as far as resources are concerned? Are you building it into your budget? Are you going to need to hire a person or people, or have people volunteer, or take a couple of L's? Are you going to need more physical space? That sort of thing. So what does that look like? Okay, and you also want to make sure, I just want to scroll back down to here, the shipping and fulfillment part. Oh, nope, I'm going to keep to the sell area. This is actually very important as well. So we had talked about utilizing your e-commerce store, whether that's your website or Etsy or um, other, stores. So they're talking about online marketplaces, social commerce, which means, a Facebook store, Google store, that sort of thing. If you're going to be in a brick and mortar, which includes pop-ups, right? So I know, what is it, this Friday, I believe it is, the downtown New Haven is going to have a pop-up situation, right? And if you're participating in that pop-up situation, are you prepared for it? What does that look like? What are some things that you are going to utilize in order to assist you in the sales process? So some of the things that they talk about here is writing a compelling product titles and clear description of what the product says, featuring high quality product imagery to entice new customers. I know that this is something that often people may not have whatever resources it is in order to have high quality product imagery, but and I'm not going to say that phones are the end all be all of for phone technology, but phone technology has gotten better. There's lenses for phones. There's also pretty inexpensive little light boxes that you can utilize. I was working with a client several years ago, and I went out and I purchased a light box kit to take photos, even with my phone, of the products that they had. Let your customers know where they can find your product on your e-commerce store and encourage customers to opt into your email newsletter or follow you on social media. This last one right here, in session 2 and 3, I'm going to be talking very specifically about social media and advertising and email, what an email campaign looks like. So I'm doing that again this month, so you have time to kind of ramp up for this. I'm going to skip cross-border for now and just talk about shipping a little bit. So there are 3 primary options, and often we only have the first one, which is to handle shipping and fulfillment in-house. And again, what does that look like during the holidays? I talked about a little bit, are you going to have the physical space available to do this? So the other option is to outsource shipping and fulfillment to a third-party logistics provider, or with a drop shipper. So this particular article gives you some options that you can take a look at here. There's also a section in here that talks about sales tax as well, which I'm not talking about in this particular session, but that is in the PDF that we posted that out, correct? Yeah, okay, good. And then managing your inventory, right? So this already is like a lot of stuff, and this is why we break it down by time, increments of time, because it takes some time to ramp up. The last time I had talked about this was around the same time, September, October, but this is really something that you start at the first of the year and kind of walk through. So I'm going to talk about this for 2 seconds. I'm going to talk about unboxing. I don't know if you want to put in the comments or in chat if you've ever unboxed your own products and what does that look like. This is something that I do for my clients who are e-commerce clients. I've actually made a purchase and went through the whole process of what does it look like to purchase something online? What does that purchase look like? What happens if I leave something in the cart? What happens if I don't finish payment, that sort of thing, all the way up to when, how fast is it delivered to me? And then I go and I open up the box, and oftentimes, um, you know, how do people wrap things like in bubble wrap or those little popcorn? Obviously, the sustainable popcorn or something like that. What does that look like? Is it wrapped in tissue paper with like a little sticker with your logo or with a little message on it? Is there a thank you card? So all of these things are things to be taken into consideration as far as what an unboxing situation would look like. Um, and then I wanted to just note this little um, segment or this little notation right here. So on average, shoppers return 15 to 30% of online purchases during the holiday season. In 2019, it amounted to roughly 41.6 billion in returns. As a result, returns continue to be a large area of concern for many retailers. And then if we're smaller businesses or singular makers, it's even more difficult. So what do you do to prevent returns, and what do you do if there are returns? How do you simplify that process and provide something that is of value in that perspective? Okay, this is my favorite part right here, obviously, because this is what I do, and it is the marketing and promotions area. And basically, what is it that you do to connect with customers? And sometimes some of the things that I say, I feel like a little icky saying it, but it's just what we do. Um, so the season brings a unique merriment and nostalgia that encourages spirited fun, giving back, and meaningful time spent with family and friends. When marketing your products, focus on connecting your brand to the season. So oftentimes we'll see people do team up with charitable organizations to highlight your mission and values and give back. Um, this is a serious conversation that I actually have with my client, where it's just, how you choose organizations, how you work. This actually becomes a personal brand and a brand kind of conversation is like, what are your actual values? Bring a storytelling approach to your marketing collateral. This is something that I said way in the beginning, especially when you're talking about holiday products. If you're introducing new products, what does that look like? Um, and then highlight user-generated content to celebrate your customers. So very happy customers or very upset customers are the ones on either end of the spectrum are the ones that communicate the most. So you want to be sure to utilize social media to communicate with people who are asking questions or have found value in what you are providing. This is a big one because as we saw when Facebook and Instagram were down 2 days ago, yeah, we're down 2 days ago. It it meant a lot to small businesses and to makers if they didn't have other channels in order to sell their products. So if something like this happened during the actual holiday season, and and for a longer period of time, say it's like 3 days or 4 days, what are you doing to message and to communicate to your customer? Um, so integration, utilizing email, utilizing more than one social platform, um, using word of mouth, that sort of thing. So one of the things that, from a design perspective or from a communication perspective, is making sure that you've created your core message. And what that means is I've been working with a lot of organizations lately that have been kind of like revisiting who they are overall, right? So your core messaging is based on whatever your personal brand is, if you're an artist or that sort of thing, and then what the organizational messaging is. And then you can kind of break off from that, and it should be very easy from storytelling or a holiday perspective to see what that looks like. So once you've locked down that strategy, then you go on to additional marketing. So I'm going to use a term that we've used quite a bit. We'll put it in the chat as well, and it's called micro content. And I'm sure if you've watched Digital Media Sync, or if you're part of one of the cohort programs that is happening in the New Haven area, or just reading up on any article, micro content is a big word in the industry. And basically all that means is once you have your website content, then you can take that and break it down into smaller kind of bite-sized content, add photo or video, and kind of use that as your jumping off to have content that's palatable to social media. Okay, so I'm also going to skip paid advertising right now because this is a 24-page document, but it is here, and we're going to be talking about paid advertising next. So that's on the Wednesday, October 13th. Is that what I'm doing? Wednesday, October 13th. The 13th is when I'm doing paid advertising, and then the 20th is when I'm going to be talking about email. I'm also going to talk about SMS as well, because it's short text messaging, and that's something that's also a way to communicate marketing and promotion, and specifically to holiday sales. This article also talks about SEO. I'm going to let that go because that's like a huge portion of any communications, marketing, and website. So I want to have a bigger conversation about that is not only tied to holiday sales. One of the things here, though, that I do want to talk about is just go ahead and take a look at this. I think this is page 16. Is go ahead and take a look at this, because the SEO for holiday is a little bit different, and it's also much more competitive. You have a lot of the same words being used, not only the same words that are being used in the industry, but the same words generally overall. So you're going to see a lot of Cyber Monday, Black Friday. There's also Small Business Saturday. Small Business Saturday is a huge component. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and say to try to make a little micro campaign that's specific to Small Business Saturday in November. That's something that you want to think about as far as kind of cutting through or breaking through any competition. Have any questions?
No, so far. No.
All right. So if you have any questions, just let me know and I will answer them. Also, again, this is being recorded right now, and it's also going to be on Facebook Live. So if you see this anytime in the future, meaning after October 6th, 2021, between 1 and 2, go ahead and just leave comments in the chat or questions in the chat, and I'll go ahead and look at them and answer. Okay. So, also skip this because this is on page 18 of this PDF, but it does talk about customer support and being customer centric. That's another big term, kind of lumped in with marketing as well, and communication, more so because online communication, online marketing has been such a big component, which means instead of broadcasting and having one voice the voice of the business, people are actually talking back and communicating.
Um, we do have a question.
Oh, good. Okay. There's a question.
You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
I'm not in the sound, but it's okay. What can I do when I'm standing at a table to make my customers feel excited or careful?
When you're when you're vending at a table.
Yeah.
So I would say a couple of things that we had talked about briefly before when you're vending and you're at a table is tell stories, and especially about any new products, and introducing what that product is, what it does, asking them questions. Oftentimes asking them questions about what their needs are as it pertains to that product is a good way to kind of start that relationship and get them excited. How do you feel about this? Do you think you need this? Is this something that, ask them if it's something that's exciting to them. There's many ways to approach that conversation. And I think that it's also in a couple of these articles as well. But I would say that's definitely one of the areas, having that conversation and communication. I know oftentimes we'll hear that people are not excited about you or your product all the time, but they're always very excited about what their needs are.
I do have a question. Another one. What about giving free stuff
Yeah, so
or test or product test?
that's like a big a big question, in that you have to build into your actual marketing budget, is what can you give away for free and what does that look like. So I think we talked again, we may have just touched upon it a little bit at the very beginning. What are you doing about giving something away for free, giving a discount, and you're in what percentage are you willing to give up for free and the discount in order to make that sale? So making sure that you build that into your plan and your campaign. But yeah, having free samples of whatever that product is, if it's a viable option. Oftentimes, and I know we have artists here as well. What does it look like to give something away for free, right? So that's like very product based. Is it a button? Is it a card? Is it a bookmark? That sort of thing. What does that look like? And how's that featured? Seeing the chat numbers go up over the
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
I do.
I'm keeping them. And
Okay. Yeah, so feeling cared for too, that's another thing, right? Because it's difficult right now to have that connection. You know, we're all masked and that sort of thing. So eye contact is super important, right?
Yeah.
That's like a big thing. And then, for me, and this may sound, this is something that I do anyways. And I actually haven't been doing it right now because I'm keeping my hands down here. But oftentimes, if you're directing your attention to a person, right, there's eye contact, and if somebody else is over here, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll have one hand out like this as I'm talking, and I'm, pointing to the product just like that, and then have like another hand like this, where it's like I'm directing my attention to you, you have my attention, but I'm also ready to get on to um, the next person meeting, because oftentimes you are dealing with one person at a time. The other thing too, maybe to have an introduction where you have a group attention as well. And again, having something that's more story based about what's going on with that product. Okay, so hopefully I've answered that question a
Thank you.
little bit more
Yeah.
detail. There's a little bit in here. I don't want to go too far into this, but this is just kind of some of the data points that you want to take a look at, and business metrics that are available. So I'm going to jump off of this right now and go on to, there's two more articles that I have been looking at, obviously, because now I'm like at the bottom of the article instead of the top of the article. This is from a platform that I actually use called Sprout Social. And they're very big to data and process as well. And this is what I use for my clients. I can utilize this with multiple clients on multiple platforms. It's a little bit more expensive than small
Okay.
business single use type, like a Hootsuite or something like that. It's for larger. But the Sprout Social is a very good resource for marketing and for social media. So this is an article that, again, it's from November 24th, 2020. It's about a 5-minute read. It shows you that it's a 5-minute read. And it's called Think Big, Shop Small, How to Rev Up Your Small Business Holiday Marketing Strategy. It's a little later than what I was expecting it to be at the time. But it talks a lot about selling specifically in these times where we're still in the pandemic. We're still very much, in the. So there's actually another article. There's two articles. So one is a Facebook 2021 Holiday Marketing Guide. And again, this talks about the same type of things that I'm talking about right now. And I'm looking at the time, and I just want to make sure that I answer any questions as well. So, but the thing that's, again, we're talking about here is community connection, engagement and entertainment, anticipation and occasion, and then inspiration and spontaneity, right? So those are the types of things, again, when you're asking about how do I engage people, how do I make people feel excited and feel taken care of. So this is a good article. And yes, I know it's Facebook. And here's the guide, right? Actually gonna the and this is where you can get the holiday for that. I'm gonna put that and this was something that I didn't include before, but I'm including now.
Thank you. I'm gonna put it in Facebook.
Oh, and Facebook too. Thank you. I just thought about that. And then this is yet another article. Apologies for the fast scroll. This is what I'm going to be talking about next week. But this is the perfect guide to 2021 holiday email marketing. I'm going to have other resources as well. This is the guide. So there's also two resources that I want to provide because you're here. So one of them is it's just a Google Doc, and I made a copy of it from another provider, and it's the Marketing Calendar 2021. And again, I realize that it is from the beginning of 2021, but it goes all the way to Q4. So obviously, this doesn't work for everybody. This is going to show what it looks like to have an actual marketing campaign for the year. So we could actually change this and make it 2022, and or we could focus on Q4 2021 and then make a copy of it and do a complete year for 2022. But as you can see, this is what a complete marketing campaign calendar looks like. So I love the way that it's very simple. I love Google Sheet. I'm sure you could do it on Excel as well. But it breaks down what are your promotions, what are your email campaigns, what do those look like? And as you can see, there's two very important components that are ongoing or recurring, and it's building automated emails and thank you for signing up or thank you for buying us all that. There's events. So again, if you're thinking about an event like uh, the downtown event, the night market, making sure that you have that available. Social media, what does that look like? And this includes, here's one that says target competitors with ads, custom gift codes on social. So if you're rewarding people for following you on Facebook or on Instagram, Twitter, anything like that, and you give them a very specific code that's, Insta 2021, you get, 10% off of that thing. With this local marketing site or influencer, and then there's public relations, blogging, pay-per-click. And so this calendar not only talks about the campaigns, but also what you're doing leading up to. And then you're talking direct mail. That's something that's not online. It's actual, are you doing flyers or brochures or coupons in the mail? And then if you are in communication or want to be in communication with influence. So this calendar right here is proving to be very, very helpful. And then there's another component to the calendar, the menu. But this is both in the chat, correct?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe pick it up and pull it out of the.
Yeah, just go to view,
Oh, wait,
I did share it to the
okay.
second,
So it's shared.
I share the link.
So it's a workbook, and it's the third worksheet in the workbook. And so if you want to take this for yourself and start playing with it from the perspective of creating your own marketing calendar, just make a copy of it. So what I did is I went to File, Make a Copy. I renamed it, and well, it renames itself Copy of Copy. So you can copy it and then give it your own. So this one I renamed it EIR New Haven Free Public Library. So that's what that looks like. And then lastly, because we have 8 minutes left, and again, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them, I'll answer them. So what trends are being seen, holiday trends being seen, is a continued increase in online and hybrid shopping. So that basically means either buying directly from online or researching online and then going to either a box store, a brick and mortar location, or something like like an event of some sort. so like a holiday fair that, be prepared for more ways to shop. So while many states and municipalities are reopening, the lessons of the COVID-19 era will shape retail for years to come. Many merchants have felt the squeeze of supply chain limitation. That's another thing too. Um, even if you are a maker, it's whether or not you have the supplies are available to you to make more of whatever it is that you need. So making sure that you have everything that you need from a supply perspective. Again, same as last year, leveraging omni-channel marketing, so utilizing a variety and giving shoppers what they want and options. So this is what's considered convenient. Can I order online? When and how I want? Can I pick up in a store when I want? Can I reserve in a store and have the product waiting for me? I know that there's been some stores locally where you can call or um, online reserve, and then you can go. The new term this past year, these past 16 months has been curbside pickup.
I know. Even at the library.
Yeah, even at the library, curbside pickup, right? Can I pick up my books? Can I pick up my make and take items, that sort of thing? Can I get immediate delivery? What does that look like? Can I return my purchase through a simple collection service or return them to the store and have replacement goods waiting for me? Again, are things going to be waiting for me? Are you going to pull something off the shelf for me and have it ready for me? One of the big things, even now, and I know we only have 5 minutes left, but even now, when you're going through the make believe you're the customer, not only look at it from a desktop perspective, but if you have a tablet or if you have a mobile device, making sure that the purchasing process is just as easy. I've worked with businesses where I said, okay, let's see what happens if we try to shop online. Even just looking, right? You don't necessarily have to purchase, but even making it easy to look at products and to look at products from a various perspectives, right? So can you see, for example, like a t-shirt, and you see it in a different color, or is it difficult to do that on a mobile device? Prepare for shoppers starting early. I can assure you that my mom has probably finished her shopping by now. I am not like that at all. I'll do all my shopping last minute and I'll second guess myself all the way. My mom had her lists already in August. So making sure that you're ready to meet early demand. Again, guess it doesn't help in 2021, but something to make note of for 2020. And then no matter what happens, social media always is going to be an important part. There have been many people who have utilized Facebook to say that they're no longer going to Facebook. But there are multiple generations that are using Facebook. You can sell, there's actually a guide right here, how to sell on Instagram. So there's many resources. So again, this is Big Commerce. This is one of my favorite publications. I'm going to grab that as well for that end. And I know it seems like I'm just throwing a lot of articles and such, but
And okay.
we're going to put that in Facebook. And then this is another aspect that I'm going to talk about. And if you know what, if there's anything that you want me to talk about, I know I've been talking a lot about marketing and very specifically for the holidays, but if you have a topic that you're really interested in, please put that in the chat and please put that in the chat here or put it in the comment section on Facebook. Because one of the things I think really again, a lot of my clients ask about. It's a big part of communications and marketing and promotion is reviews. I have a colleague who uses a review software that is escaping my memory right now, but I'm going to ask him about it. And it basically what it does is it channels all of the reviews from Google and Facebook and Twitter and whatever for other platforms. All of the 5 stars or good reviews can be posted out to the social platforms, and then all of the negative reviews gets funneled over to internal sources so that either the owner of the store, an employee, the maker, whomever it is, can actually address whatever those negative reviews are, whatever those complaints are. So it's a platform. I think it's called Bird's Eye, but I'm not quite sure. But I'll circle back and get that to you. So that was and then again, SMS, which is basically simple text. A lot of people are doing simple text, and this is actually another item that I'm going to talk about a little bit more widely. It's amazing because you always think like an hour is a good amount of time. And then I'm like, really, all of this can take like 5 or 6 hours, and that's why I kind of broke it up a little bit. So this is going to wrap up, and it says, time will tell how the upcoming holiday season will go. Will shoppers be excited to return to stores, or will they continue to enjoy the convenience of online? I love the convenience of online. I don't like going to stores at all. However, I do like going to things like, for example, the night market that's happening, or any kind of fairs or holiday fairs, or doing stuff that's like outside. People do like going to stores. People like going to stores and just having everything ready for them. They get up and just do a quick scan of all the other stores that are available. So it's going to be really interesting. And then the last thing is making sure that, again, your website, whatever your core, the core component that provides for those sales, making sure that that's ready. That's it. 2 o'clock. I can hear. I can hear the bell at City Hall.
If you mute, I can get you.
Oh, here, let me mute. I'm going to stop share, and then I'm going to mute myself.
Let me see if I can talk. Okay, so
Yep, I'm all good.
that's why I haven't talked.